Tata Motors was instrumental in reinventing the wheel in the entry-level segment in 2021 when the OG Punch came in. It even became the best-selling model in the country in 2024. Today, the question on everyone's mind is whether the history will repeat itself. And for that, we have with us today Mr. Vivek Srivatsa, who's the Chief Commercial Officer at Tata Passenger Electric Mobility. Sir, tell me something. Let's get into that question first. Will the history repeat itself? Because the Punch has been an OG, and this is again set to reinvent the market. How will it sort of disrupt the market, in your
Yeah,
opinion?
so the focus is not about ranking, to be honest, but the focus is definitely about giving customers a fresh appeal. It's one of the products which has uniform love across the country, whether it is geographic spread or tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 spread. Punch is equally loved, and it's done all that in just 4.5 years.
Yeah.
We forget how young a car it is. So most of the changes you see we have done is focused on the first time car buyer, and really redefine, like you said, redefine what a first time buyer can get. So we are very optimistic, and plus the new powertrains as well.
Yeah.
It expands our catchment area, as we say. More customers will get attracted. So really definitely hoping for a jump in volume. Whether it will create any difference in ranking is not something we are really worried about. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Is this the new aspirational entry level, as we call it? Is this going to redefine the market? How are you seeing the shift? And also take us through the journey from 2021 till today. How
Yeah.
has the buyer mindset
Yeah,
shifted?
I think as we sit here today, 70% of Punch buyers are first-time car buyers. It was not the case when we launched it. So this number has gradually grown. This car buyer between 6 and 10 lakhs is a conservative car buyer. Most of them are buying a car for the first time. They like to buy cars which are seen around them, who have made a mark. They'll buy cars where they've heard good things, positive word of mouth. And suddenly we came in with a very disruptive design, new nameplate. So there was a little bit of risk, but I think we are very proud that in 4 years we have created a fairly big set of consumers who are talking positively about it. So, and most of the features we have incorporated are focused on the first time car buyer, how to make them more comfortable, how to expand their use cases. So that way I think we have achieved what we set out to be, and also tried to retain the price at
Yeah.
a very
Very aggressive.
acceptable level for the first time buyer.
Yeah.
So that's been the big difference really. But from a consumer point of view, if you see, more and more consumers are willing to, the traditional mindset of I'll buy the smallest hatch and then I will upgrade after 3-4 years, that is going
That's
away.
changed.
So the percentage of first time buyers have increased to 70 now. Earlier it was much lesser. And increasingly this buyer is saying, I want more, but I'm not willing to pay for more. So this is a
Classic Indian mindset.
Indian mindset,
Value driven.
but I would say exaggerated more, because it's a person who's buying a car for the first time is already stretching himself. So that is the challenge, and this mindset is expanding more and more. So they want to live and use the car like everybody else does, but by not paying too much. So it's challenging to cater to this consumer.
Yeah, and with
Yeah.
this pricing, you're obviously spoiling the consumer a lot more.
Yeah.
Talking about pricing, has GST had an impact? Because it's had the utmost impact in volume terms when it comes to the cash in hand for buyer and
Absolutely.
the impact. So will that sort of help catapult the segment altogether?
Definitely. I think if you look back, now it's 4 months since GST 2.0 came in. The consumer behavior has been that they continue to spend the same what they had in mind, but they've upgraded themselves. So they've gone to the next higher trim or the next higher category segment. So spends have not come down, but they have released more value. And it's all the more reason why probably that, like I said, the mindset of going for a cheaper hatch, there will be more people gravitating towards a slightly more expensive but car which is an SUV form factor.
Yeah.
So definitely it is going to help the Punch now.
get that
Yeah,
incremental
yeah,
set of buyers. So whether it's Sierra or Curve or Punch, you've never had a Me Too positioning. These were segment definers. These were segment firsts in some way, especially the Punch, like
yeah,
the OG Punch we were
yeah,
talking about. So talk a bit about your product strategy overall. How
yeah.
will this fit in? What are some of the other gaps that you see in the
Yeah.
portfolio?
So I think our product philosophy is always driven by two things. One is assess the Indian consumers' need very deeply, and then create innovative solutions that take care of it. And that innovation could be on design, or the product definition, or the price itself. That's been how Tata Motors has been driving right from initial days.
Yeah.
But at the core lies on understanding the consumer better. And like I said, here it's a first time buyer. The first time buyer increasingly feels little overwhelmed by the choices on hand. Am I
Correct.
making the right choice? At the same time, he's on an upward trajectory in his life. So his need today, and he knows that after 3 years he might have a family, larger family. He might have more money to enjoy more vacations. Will my car keep up with my pace? Is something they express.
Yeah.
It's the right car I can afford now, but after 2 years will it be relevant? So these are the kind of thought processes that we go very deeply into, and that's why, and of course, the design differentiation, like you said, very different form factor in a conservative area of the
Yeah.
market.
Yeah.
So disruption, in terms of offering unique solutions to existing products is what we focus on.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, like you said, a few years back, even the entry level aspiration has changed. We would
yeah,
see a few years back, hatchback was the choice of the day,
yeah,
and consumers were also coming from that mindset that they need a basic point A to point B kind of a solution.
yeah.
Then obviously there were products that disrupted that, and this again is like we call the new entry level. So how is the relevance of the hatchback segment now that this has become more
Yeah.
aggressive for the consumer?
See, hatchbacks will definitely continue to be relevant because inherently they bring in a different kind of value. They are easy to drive, cheaper to maintain and run. But I think hatchback market also needs a little bit of reinvention. Today hatchbacks are associated with cheap car. And it doesn't need to be like that. Hatchbacks can be made aspirational, can be made more, have a certain character about them. So we have our own two hatchbacks. It's about how you inject a certain level of desirability in that category as well. It's a difficult segment. Companies don't make money. Probably that consumer is even more demanding than an entry SUV customer.
Correct.
So how do you balance the consumer need with the need for aspiration is the challenge in hatchback category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What other product gaps would you say that, I know that this year again is packed with launches. Is compact MPV another space that you would look at? Because this is again was like a category defining feature. What other gaps would you
See,
say?
we are looking, obviously our market desktop studies show us different gaps. I won't be able to comment where exactly we are getting in right
Yeah.
now, but there are emerging gaps. If you see, uh, MPV is a category which has been fairly stable for the last many
Correct.
years. It has not had too many fluctuations. So we don't have an MPV. So maybe we can look at that. But what I'm saying is, I'm not saying that we are getting into
Sure.
MPVs, but just giving you a glimpse of how we think. Similarly, we have the curve. We have two entries in the 4.3-meter segment that is disruptive.
Exactly.
So that kind of mindset we'll apply to all market gaps going forward.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like we saw in the ICE space, if you could talk a bit about the electric vehicle industry,
Sure.
because going forward, that is the way you have also taken as an industry.
Yeah.
Do you think that like products like Punch and even body style preferences like SUV will electric segment follow the same path as ICE? Because ICE, like for example, 60% is the SUV space today.
Yeah.
Will it follow the same body style preference as well for
I
electrification?
think right now electric vehicles are not, the consumer is not fragmenting it so much because ICE has been in existence for more than 30-35 years now. And with the growth, the consumer needs are getting very fragmented, sharply defined, right? For EV, largely, I think there are two extremes. One is a pure cost of ownership, easy to drive kind of a mindset where I'll drive an EV. I have a lot of driving to do. I I want the cheapest EV which I can run at a very low cost, but it should be easy to drive. And right sized in terms of features, right sized in terms of battery pack. I don't want to pay more. I know I'm going to drive 100 kilometers a day, so 200-kilometer range is good enough. So that's one extreme. On the other extremes, more and more you're seeing, I want more performance, I want much more battery pack than I ever need. Can it compete with my eyes in terms of range? Can it be all wheel drive? Can it give me the best of software features, etc.? So two extremes are coming in today. If you see, a lot of companies are doing a lot of justice on the right side, where they are giving big battery packs to overcompensate the range anxiety.
Yeah.
Also, it makes them heavy, but they also throw in a lot of features, software as well as hardware features. That is being taken care. So if you see, above 15 lakhs, closer to 20 lakhs and above is where suddenly there's been a lot of launches and also growth. But the big opportunity, and I would say the only way to mainstream EVs in India, is to work on the entry EVs, which are fairly economical to
Yeah.
to buy, economical to run, at the same time which gives inherent EV benefits of ease of drive and all that.
That's a huge
So
gap again.
that is the big gap in EVs. Where mass adoption will happen. All said and above 30-25 lakhs, Indian market is very limited, right, in terms of volume.
Yeah.
So companies have to do the hard work on the difficult side now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
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 And also this, talking about different powertrains, this gets an automatic CNG for the
Yeah.
first time.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What was the thought process behind that? Who
Yeah.
is the audience for
Yeah.
that?
So, I mean, so this category, the AMT penetration or single, I would say, clutchless drive penetration is about 20-25%.
Okay.
And the entire CNG that was despite not having automatic on CNG.
Yet, yeah.
And CNG is about 30% of our volume.
Yeah.
So we thought it's a definite opportunity. Secondly, our consumers said that I want to have a CNG, but at the same time, why? I mean, if I have a clutchless drive, I can drive it easier. Plus, everybody else in the family, the women folk probably can drive it much easier. Why should I pay that trade-off?
Yeah.
So I think consumers said that there's a good opportunity to have CNG as well and AMT as well. We are seeing it in Tiago. We launched it, and the penetration is very good. So that's a big opportunity we are unleashing now.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Talk a bit about the features, because
Yeah.
this segment, it's perceived that they don't want to pay for so many features. How difficult was that? Because your premium variants have like you name it and you have it, right?
Yeah.
Like ADAS systems and like driver and control assist. It's just there. How difficult was it to package this with the kind of customers that you're
Yeah.
targeting and at this price point?
It is extremely difficult. For example, 6 airbags. It comes at a cost, but how do you
Correct.
still maintain the entry price for the consumer? And
Yeah.
this is a category where even 30,000 rupees pushes them into the next
It's a lot.
segment.
Yeah.
So that's why it's extremely. We have to put our cost under severe control. But the consumer says, I cannot pay more, but I want everything. Otherwise, the category will stagnate. So unless you unleash that sudden value for customers, the category will not grow.
Yeah.
And in fact, it will degrow. So yes, it's been a huge challenge. Like you said, getting in the larger screens, getting in ESP as standard, 6 airbag standard, many other features are standard, has been a real challenge in terms of cost optimization. But see, unless you do that, the consumer will not buy it. That's the reality of the Indian market.
Yeah.
Either they'll postpone their purchase or they will go to some other category. So if we have to grow, we'll have to listen to the customer.
Yeah. Just leave us with
Yeah.
your portfolio strategy
Yeah.
going forward. How will this tie well with your other products in the portfolio? Do you see any kind of cannibalization? Do you see any kind of, confusion in the minds of the customer in terms of what is the right product for them? How do you do that segmentation?
It's not new, right? Punch has been in existence for 4 years. Punch overlaps with Tiago, Altroz as well as Nexon.
Exactly.
Each of them have their own buyer profiles. We also package the features accordingly. The other way around also, each of the other cars also have a cannibalization from Punch. So it's both ways. It's only about how well you, again, coming back to customer understanding. What does my Tiago customer want? What does my Nexon customer want? How is an Altroz customer looking at it? Better customer understanding, and ultimately, I think we can't have, very sequential pricing. It's not realistic. There's going to be overlap, but we rather have overlap in our showrooms where consumer comes with certain budget and we have 2 3 options for him.
Sure.
Far likely that he'll go out satisfied, rather than saying that if this is your budget, you have only one car.
Yeah.
I think today is the age of choices, and it's better that we have it this way.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. This
Yeah.
was the first launch from Tata Motors in the new year. Thank you
Yes.
so much and
My
all the
pleasure.
best for
My
upcoming
pleasure.
launches.
Thank you, Prerna.